All right.
Thanks. Hi, everybody.
Thanks so much for joining us. We're excited for this new user webinar.
Absolutely. So I'm Megan. I'm the manager of Two Bright Lights. And this is Tessa.
Hi.
So she's our social media and community coordinator. Chances are, if you've emailed us before, you've heard from her. So it's nice now that you have faces to the names. But we're so excited you're joining us today to welcome you to get started on your Getting Published journey. And while you may already be well on your way through that, we can still offer you some really helpful hints that'll help you to be so successful with Two Bright Lights.
Definitely.
So with that, I think we'll kick things off. Please feel free to ask questions throughout the entire webinar in the chat. I'll be manning the questions while Tessa's sort of doing the walkthrough, and
Sure.
we can pause for questions as we go.
All right, let's get started, guys.
Great.
Okay. All right, everybody. So right now, you're going to see our home screen for Two Bright Lights. So this is the place that you go when you sign in to your Two Bright Lights account. I just want to take a moment to kind of talk about what I'll be covering today and sort of the outline for this webinar. First, I'm going to be starting in the Albums tab and talk about how to actually create your album, how to upload images, tag vendors, all that great stuff. And then after I go through that process, I'll take a quick break, pause for questions, and then I'm going to move on to the submissions process. So, you create your albums, and now it's the fun part. You get to pick those publications that you want to send your work to and wait to hear a response and hopefully get featured somewhere. So that's kind of the main points of the webinar. Then I'll also be going over to our avatar and talking about the community tab and the My Account tab, just for some ways to target your submissions, some tips on how to be successful with your submissions, and then the My Account tab is going to be a little bit more housekeeping and settings coverage. So let's start with the Albums tab. Okay, so if you click on that, you'll see here's all of the thumbnails of the albums that will be in your account. So since this is a test account, that's why we have a couple that look a little funny. But this is where you would see your albums that you've created in the past. If you haven't created any albums, you'll see it'll be kind of blank and you'll see a Create Album button. But just to talk about these thumbnails and what's on each one, if you hover over it, you're going to see a couple of icons at the bottom. So the heart is obviously to favorite if you have one that's in mind or something that you want to tag for later. The download button is here. It's the cloud. The paper airplane button is the submit button. So if you are ready to submit that album to publication, this is a place that you can kind of hit to start that submission process. This is the little icon to notify vendors, which is something we'll talk about later. And then obviously the delete button. You can also hit the view button to see into that actual album. And then up top here is just a little info about that album. So you know who the photographer is, where it was located, and the date. So just a little intro here for what you should look for thumbnails. To start the process of creating an album, hit the plus sign here for the Create Album button. And this is the beginning of that album creation process. So we're first going to ask you to categorize the type of album that you'll be creating today. So for today, I'm just going to do weddings and wedding day, but you can see that we have many other categories, and as we have publications that are looking for those types of photography. So we do have a lot that look for weddings, but we also have so many that are looking for engagements, family style shoots, newborn, family sessions, things like that, party and lifestyle as well. So just choose those categories that you'll be using today. And then this is the part where we talk about real versus styled. So a real album is one that took place at an actual event. So in this case, it would be somebody's actual wedding. A styled album is a styled shoot. So if you worked with a couple of other vendors to put together some wedding inspiration, that's when you would hit that styled button here. So today I'm just going to hit real, and you'll be brought to the next page. So this is really like the bulk of the information that is included in your album submission to publication. It's where you include the contact name for the couple. So here you can see the first and last names for your couple that was married. You can do the event date, location, descriptive title, and album story. So for today, I'm just going to do some test names. Okay. I'll do a test date, and then I will do a test location. Okay. But I really wanted to cover this descriptive title and the album story, since these are two really important pieces of your album. The descriptive title is really the first snapshot that the editor gets for your submission. So before they even click into your album, they're going to look at it and see what it was called to get better understanding of what they'll be looking at later on when they actually do click into the album. So you want to throw in a couple of adjectives that will let them know what they'll be looking at. So for example, I always like to say a great title is something like an outdoor beach wedding in the summer at Cape Cod. So it covers that it's a seasonal wedding, it's in the summer, it's outdoors, it's on the beach, it's in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, so it's like a New England style wedding. And they really get all that info before they even click into it. So it's just a good way to let those editors know what they'll be looking at. So let me just type that in. Okay, and then the album story. This is a really, really important piece because this is where you plug in all the details of the wedding that you're submitting. It's really where the editor goes to get the information to write that feature for their blog or publication. So we always say that as many details as you can include, the better, but it doesn't have to be a novel. I know it can be a little intimidating to have to write paragraphs of information. Feel free to do a bulleted list if that's more your style. It's really just getting those details and pieces of information in this album, so then the editor can do the legwork of really writing the feature in the way that they would like to. So things to include in this album story. Think about those details that have extra meaning or that would be interesting to write about. So we always say that detailed shots are important, like the cake, the bouquet, maybe the beading on the back of the bride's dress, something like that. But also think about those details that have extra like oomph and give power to your submission. So one example we like to give is maybe the bride had a locket wrapped around her bouquet for the day, and in the locket was a picture of her grandma who recently passed away and was very close to her. Those kinds of details are not only inspiring to the readers, but they're super interesting to read and meaningful and add power to your submission. So keep in mind that you should include details, lots of information about vendors, maybe why the couple chose a venue, the dress, all that kind of stuff, and then also those details that have meaning. So once you're ready to plug all that information, that's where you would include it in here. So today I'm just going to write test for our purposes, and then hit next. And this is the part where you're going to add the venue and then the vendors to the album. So let's start on the left. The venue is obviously where the wedding took place. You can search for the venue here in the search bar, or you can click private residence if the wedding took place at somebody's house or an undisclosed location. For the purposes of right now, I'm just going to hit private residence. And then over to the right is where you tag the vendors. So we always say more vendors, the better. Editors are looking for between 7 to 8 vendors per album, since they really want to give credit to the vendors that took place in that particular album and event. You also want to keep in mind that these publications are looking to inspire their couples that are reading their features. So if they can offer features that have lots of vendors and lots of information, those features are going to be really inspiring to those couples, and they're going to want to come back to that blog. So it's really a win-win for everybody. The vendors get credit, you get brownie points for sharing that credit with those vendors, and then the publications get their readers to be excited and ready to plan their big day. So everybody wins with the more vendors you tag. So how do you tag a vendor? So start by searching in this search bar here. So right now I'm going to type in bakery, and then hit the magnifying glass to start the search. If you scroll down, you're going to see a list of all the bakeries that you can tag. Obviously, your search can be a lot more targeted than mine. If you find that your vendor is below, hit the check mark, and then hit Add Selected Vendors up here. And then you can see up here, Bakery Plus, that was added as a vendor. Say you do a search and you can't find that vendor in our system. So you look and there's a bakery and you just don't see it listed here. feel free to hit the Create a New Vendor button here and type in the information for that vendor so that they can still get listed and tagged for that album. So all you really need to include is their vendor type. So you can say bakery, business name, if you knew their email address, city where they're located, all of that stuff. And then once you plug it in, hit create and it would tag accordingly. One tip I will give here is our search engine can be a little on the picky side. Sometimes if you type in the full name of a vendor and search for it, it may not pull. So try searching by half the name of a vendor. So the example I always mention is Rosewood Catering. We have a vendor in our system that if you type out Rosewood Catering and hit search, it won't pull in our database. But if you search for Rosewood, it will pull in our database. So don't fret if you search for a vendor and don't see it listed in our system. Try searching for it for another way and see if it pulls. And then if it doesn't pull, maybe it's not in our system. And then you can go ahead and use that create a new vendor listing here. And that's a great way to add them to your album. More things on this page, we have the Shoot Queue button here. If you're somebody who uses Shoot Queue and has your information already in your Shoot Queue account, hit that button and you'll be linked to your Shoot Queue account, and then all that information will transfer over to 2 Bright Lights. And then that Ask for Client Help button, if you click on that, this is a nice automatic email that can be sent to a vendor of your choosing to help you fill out that info for the album. So we know that you guys may not remember every vendor that was involved for an event. You know, you guys are only human, and sometimes weddings that you upload took place, 6 to 7 months later. It's really hard to remember all the people that were involved. So we have this tool to help you reach out to somebody who may know. So a lot of times photographers will use this to maybe reach out to like the wedding planner, since they have all of those names stored in their own database. And then the wedding planner can go ahead and help you fill out that vendor information so everybody gets credited, and then your submission just only is that much stronger. So if that's something that you're interested in using, you could just go ahead, you'll put in the contact info. You can personalize the note if you feel like you want to tweak it a little, and then hit send, and it will send off to that person. Okay, so once you're done tagging all of your vendors, you can hit the next button. And this is kind of our tagging page. So this is where you'll further classify your wedding and what types of style it is. So if there was any like particular color that was big in the wedding day, you can click them up here. And then same with style, if it was a seasonal wedding. So in this case, it was a summer wedding. Let's see. It was on the beach. So anything that you feel really applies to your event, go ahead and tag it on this page. And then once you're all set, you'd hit the next button. And you finished the album creation process when you're brought to this page. So this is really your album shell. It has all the information that you included in it except for the photos. So I want to go over how we can now add the images to the album. So hit the Add Images button here. And here you're going to be brought to our page where you can start that uploading process. So we are integrated with 4 platforms right now. We have Dropbox, SmugBugs, Zenfolio, and ShootProof. If you have accounts with any of those integrations and you'd like to upload your photos from them, you can go ahead and click on that logo and you'll be prompted to log into your account and then pull your own images over through that platform. If you have your images saved on your computer, you can hit the My PC button and you'll be prompted to upload the images from your computer. Below is just a couple of reminders to keep in mind when you're submitting through 2 Bright Lights and uploading your images through 2 Bright Lights. We ask that you upload images that are 2,000 pixels wide at least. This allows for editors to size down for photos if they need to, and it really ensures that they get high-res quality images that they can use in their features. So just 2,000 pixels wide is something to keep in mind. Upload photos that aren't watermarked. Keep them in the JPEG format. And we just want to remind you that if you're a paid subscriber to 2 Bright Lights, you do have the ability to upload up to 150 images per album. So definitely take advantage of that nice number. It can sound like a lot, but once you start throwing in the detailed shots, some of those candid shots, the bridal portraits, all of those great photos that you want to include in a submission, you'll definitely reach 150 pretty quickly. So that's really the upload process. One more thing to cover here is the fact that you can go in and edit your album at any time. So say you go ahead and create that album, you couldn't remember the name of the baker and you remembered it the next day and you wanted to come in. So you can start on that albums page, click into the album, and then you'll be brought here. And then you would see an edit album button here, and you can go ahead and click on anything that you want to add info to. So if you wanted to add anything to the album story, tag another vendor, you can do that all here. Just be sure to hit save before you move any further. You don't want to lose your work. That would stink. So be sure to hit save and you'll be all set. So that's really the album creation process in a nutshell. I'm going to take a quick pause to see if anybody has questions before we head on to the submissions process.
Yeah, so I'll ask a question while we're waiting for any questions to come in.
Sure.
So in terms of, I know you said you can upload 150 photos.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any photos that are really important? I mean, like, what's the breakdown between like what should be bridal portraits and other things?
Yeah, so we really recommend that you guys try to detail shots as you can. So as I mentioned before, publications are really looking to inspire couples that are planning their wedding. So if you think about a couple that's in the midst of planning their wedding, they want to see those detail shots. They want to see what people's cakes look like, what their bouquets look like. Those things help them choose what they're going to do on their big day. So really have the majority of your photos in your album be detailed shots. It's also nice to include the candid moments, some bridal portraits, but really, really be heavy on those detail images to get picked up for submission.
And so like, what would be some examples of the detail shots?
Yeah, sure. So we say, the cake, the bouquet, like I mentioned before, if a locket was wrapped around the bouquet, those meaningful detail shots, maybe shots of the dress too. They don't have to all be like close-up images of things. They can be, a shot of the gorgeous back of the bride's gown, so that somebody's inspired to try a dress that's that style. Really those shots that you think will inspire couples that are in the process of planning.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it looks like we don't have any questions yet, so
Okay.
Why don't we move on?
Great. All right. So to start the submissions process, click on the Submissions tab up top and hit the Create Submission button. So here you're going to select what album you want to submit. So I'm going to choose this one. And then this is like the final review process. You want to make sure you have all that info for the contact for the client, the album story, all the tags that you want to have, and just, review that information one more time. And then be sure to hit the Terms of Service check mark and hit Next. So this is the page when you're going to be able to filter down by publication and choose where you actually want to submit that album. So it's really exciting. You get to see all the publications that we have on Two Bright Lights. We have over 400. So there's plenty to choose from for any type of album that you're going to submit. So you can filter up top by exclusive versus non-exclusive. So just a little review here. Non-exclusive publications are publications that accept albums and work that has been featured in other places. So if you have a wedding that got published on another blog, a couple months ago, and it was published on your blog, you posted on social media, you can submit that to non-exclusive publications since they're not really sensitive about where the album has been featured. Exclusive publications do care about where your album has been featured in the past. So if you've already been published someplace else, or it's been, taken off and it's really been popular in your own blog, for example, try to submit to those non-exclusives because exclusives really do want content that is exclusive. One thing to keep in mind with exclusives as well, they usually have a 1 to 6 month exclusivity policy. So if you do submit to an exclusive publication and they accept your album and feature it, they're going to hold that album from 1 to 6 months, and you will not be able to submit it to anywhere else during that time. After that period is up, you'll then have that album kind of released back to you in your Two Bright Lights account, and you'll be free to submit it to as many non-exclusive publications as you'd like. So we definitely have a lot of photographers that like to go that route so that they can kind of get a second life on their album. So we do know one photographer in particular, she tries to get her albums featured in exclusives first. She waits to hear back, and when she does get picked up, she'll wait the 1 to 6 month exclusivity period time. And then once that album's released back to her, she'll go ahead and submit it to like 5 to 7 non-exclusive publications, and it'll get picked up for more features. So it's really a great way to stretch the life of an album and get it published on different platforms. So if you knew what your publication was, you can hit these check boxes to see them, filter below here. You can also filter by print and web if that's something you know of as well. And then you can scroll down, and here's all of the publications that you can submit to. So if you're interested in any of these, hover your arrow over it and then click on it, and it'll appear here in the selected publications box. So click as many as you feel fit. We do recommend 5 to 7 since even though they're non-exclusive, you don't really want to make an editor feel like they're the last pick in gym class. So take the time to target your submissions, pick those top choices, submit to them, and then we recommend that you wait a little while, see who picks it up. Maybe they mark it as not a fit, put it on hold, and then try again and submit to a few more once you've had a couple work out as either featured, not a fit, anything like that. So there really are ways to submit them to many publications, but try to think about it more in like a wave cycle. That way you're not making any publications kind of sad that we call it the spray and pray method, where you just send it out to everybody and it kind of looks like you didn't put a ton of time into your submission. So 5 to 7 is a great range for the first wave. So if you just want to click, you can go ahead here and they'll all appear here. So once you've chosen all of your publications, hit the next button. And this is really the last step. So this is where you put your personalized note for each of the editors that you're going to submit to. So if you want to customize, you can just click on those editor names here. So we always recommend that you take the time to personalize this part. We get it. You're ready to submit. You want to hit that submit button, but just take a few extra minutes to write a little customized note to that editor. Maybe mention a great detail that was included in the album story. Submission stand out to that editor and show them that you took the time to target them to submit something that would work for their publication. That really can go a long way with somebody. The other thing we say to include is maybe you found a request page, which we'll cover in a few minutes, and you saw that Apartment Therapy was looking for a winter wedding in Virginia, and that's what this is. It's a winter wedding in Virginia, and you're really excited about it, and you think it'll be a great fit for their blog. Feel free to include it in this message. Again, it will just go so far with that editor and really show them that you're working to submit things that they will enjoy and be able to feature on their site. So whenever you finish those customized notes, feel free to hit the submit button, and your submissions will go right off to those editors into their accounts. One thing I do want to note is we do have the save as a draft button. So maybe you're not ready to submit it yet. You have like one more detail you want to include in the album story, anything like that. You can always hit the save as a draft and then go back to your submissions page and find the pencil button at the top. I can show you that in 1 second, and to access that draft. Let's just go back to that submissions page. So this is what I'm talking about. Here's the little pencil. So if you had a draft that you wanted to access, you can hit there accordingly. Just a couple more little housekeeping things on the submissions page. Just like you have the thumbnails in the albums page, you have thumbnails on your submissions page, kind of showing you where your submissions are at in the process. So you can see in the top left-hand corner, there's little icons. The X is not a fit. The check mark is an accepted feature. The little radio dial is a feature that's been published. And then here's this little phone. That's the on hold status. So I just want to let you guys know what that status is, because we get asked that a lot. When an album's put on hold, it means that a publication is still considering featuring that album, but maybe that album is missing something. Another action needs to be taken on it. So something that might occur is you submit an album to an editor, and they really, really like the wedding cake, but you only submitted like 1 to 2 pictures of that wedding cake. They may put that album on hold and then mark in their feedback section that they're looking for more pictures of that cake because they really want to feature it in their article. That's where you can go ahead, go into your album, add more pictures of the cake, send them a quick email and just say, hey, I saw that you marked my album on hold. I added those pictures that you were requesting. I really hope you'll consider it for feature. Thanks so much for all of your feedback. It's just a great way to show the editors that you're on top of your submissions and you're really excited about the possibility of being featured. So that's really the submissions process in a nutshell, and then your submissions page, how to navigate through that. I'm going to pause again, see if anybody has any questions about how to submit.
Yeah, we actually got a question from Nev. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So it was going back to detail shots, which actually relates into how to choose your publication.
Definitely.
But they were saying that they do documentary photography, and a few times they were not chosen for submission because there were not enough detail shots.
Okay.
Are there publications that don't necessarily focus on the detail shots as much? How would you recommend going about that?
Definitely. So we have publications that aren't necessarily as interested in those detail shots. I'm going to cover in just a couple minutes how to narrow down your publication search so that way you can know who you're submitting your work to. But we have over 400 publications, and we definitely have a handful that like the more documentary style photography. It's really all about how you target your submission. So there's definitely a bunch of tools in Two Bright Lights that we provide you guys to help you figure out what publications are looking for what types of photography. So there's publications that look for moodier styles of photography, or the light and airy, or they like the documentary style photography, feature videography, all that good stuff. We're going to show you how to search for those so that way you can match your style of work to the publications that are looking for those types of work.
So Therese, we have a question from, so if submitting to an exclusive publication,
Yep.
are my clients allowed to publish photos on their social media accounts, and am I allowed to post a sneak peek?
Sure. So we always say that you can post on social, but try to keep the best photos, you know, those like the stunner photos that you know that publication is going to want to feature. Keep those hidden until your publication has been featured. We get it. We know that you guys have your clients, and your clients are super excited about the photography that you provided for them. And we know that it's important for your business to do things like sneak peeks to get those new clients on board. But you know, if you're really interested in getting featured in an exclusive publication, it is worth it to try to keep it a little under wraps just for that time, you know, in between the exclusivity period, and then once it's featured, go nuts.
And also I think for your clients publishing, it's totally fine. I mean, it's their images, absolutely. And I mean, unless something went viral, like, you're going to be good. So unless you have these celebrity clients with huge Instagram followings, you should be okay. But definitely. Then, and if you do, they're gonna want to publish it anyways. So
exactly.
Any
other questions?
I think we are okay for the moment, but feel free to keep them coming in if you have any as we continue.
Definitely. Okay, so the next tab I want to cover is the request tab. So if you click on that tab, you're going to be brought to a live feed of all of the requests that publications are sending in real time. So publications are obviously looking for submissions throughout the year. That's kind of a given, but at different times of the year, they're going to be looking for more specific submissions. So this is where you can go to see if anybody's looking for anything in particular and see if your work is a fit for what they're looking for. So if you scroll down, you can see some examples. So like Joy Wed right now, they're a non-exclusive publication. They're looking for New Year's Eve inspiration, featured anywhere, so they're not necessarily location specific. And then they give a little description here of what they're looking for. So fine art inspired, New Year's Eve inspiration. They can do an editorial shoots, real weddings. They just want sparkly engagement sessions and lots of great New Year's Eve inspiration. So this is a really fabulous way to check out what publications are looking for in real time based on the seasons, maybe their different features. They're always looking out for different content that will fuel your publications depending on the seasons, time of year, all that good stuff. So if you look up top here, it will show you when they are posted and then when it's due. So Joy Wed's looking for that New Year's Eve inspiration by December 28th. We just added a really, really exciting new feature. You can actually submit directly to this publication from the Request tab. So if you look at this and you see that you do have New Year's Eve inspiration and it's already loaded into your account and you're ready to go, feel free to hit on that paper airplane icon here to start that submissions process. And you don't even have to go back to your submissions page or your albums page. You can do it right here. So that's just something we're really excited about adding. It's brandy dandy new, and we're super excited to help you guys streamline your work even easier and make everything a little bit more efficient for you guys. To the left of that, there is a flag icon. This is a great way to filter out the requests that you're interested in taking a look at later. So maybe you scroll through and you see a couple that you know you have things you need to upload, but they would be a great fit. Go ahead and flag those. You can see they turn blue. And then when you come back later, you can hit the filter button, hit flag, and it will pull up all of your submission requests that have the flags. You can see. So that's really your request tab in a nutshell. It's a great way to target your submissions and just boost your submission success that much more. The next button that I want to talk about that's kind of similar to the request tab but will help you narrow down your submissions and publications. It's the community tab. So click on the avatar in the top right-hand corner of your screen, hit community, and then hit browse publications. You're going to see all of the thumbnails for our 400 plus publications, and these are really the thumbnails that will take you to their editor profile page. So if you click into one, let's click into the Knot. This is the editor profile page. So it includes all this important information like their contact email, what they're looking for here, just a little bit more information about the Knot. And then if you scroll down, it's going to be a great snapshot of all the types of features that the Knot is looking for. It gives you their print deadline schedule here, their response time, how many times they publish in a year, and then it will break it down by location as well. So they have the Knot.com, the Knot Print National, but they also have regional publications like the Knot Chicago, things like that. And then below, there's the portfolio section. So this is a really great snapshot of the types of images that the Knot is looking for. So as you can see, it's a little on the light and airy side. This is a great section to check out if you're not sure if your photography style matches that of a publication. So maybe you're a photographer that takes a little bit moody work. You might see this and see it's not necessarily exactly what you shoot. But what you can do is go through our publication profiles, scroll down and see the portfolio section and try to match your photography to that section as much as possible just to target your work that much better and your submissions that much better. Another feature I just want to talk about is this Submit to Publisher button. It's another brand new feature that we added. If you're researching a publication and you know that you want to submit to them, you can go ahead and hit this button here to start that submission process. So again, it's just saving you a little bit more time and just making your submission process that much more efficient. Okay. The last thing I want to cover is the My Account tab. So this is more of the housekeeping part of the webinar. So we'll often in customer service get emails like, my company just changed names, or my company just changed our email address. How do I change that into my Two Bright Lights account so that my personal account info reflects those changes? This is the best way to do it. So you'd hit on that avatar, hit the My Account tab to be brought to this page. And here's going to be all of your information regarding your photography company or your vendor company. And you can go ahead and hit edit down here to change anything. So if you wanted to change your contact email address, the name of your business, maybe you added a social media page and you wanted to include it, that's how you go about doing that. We also have the badges page. So if you've been featured on any publications and you get a badge for it, you can go to this page to access that badge, to download it and put it on your website if that's something that you'd like to do. Your subscription tells you your subscription type. So maybe you're a free member and you're looking to upgrade and you're just not sure how to do that. You'd hit the subscription tab here and then you'd hit the upgrade button to go ahead and choose either a monthly or an annual subscription. This is your settings. It's where you can change your password if you wanted to update that. You can also edit your preferences here for vendors and what they can access for your images. So I was actually just asked this question the other day by a great customer through our customer service. She was tagging vendors, but she wanted them to be able to access images from her album that actually did not have a watermark, because those vendors wanted to use them for their own websites, and we're going to credit them as a photographer in their own way on the website. So you can go to this page here to manage all of those settings. So it'll ask you, allow user to download high resolution files. You can toggle that on and off to depending on who you want to be able to download high res images. Same with the watermark. So right now we have it off, but if you wanted a vendor to be able to download images without a watermark, this is where you could toggle it on to set up that setting. And then here's just another place to look at those pending vendor requests. If a vendor is looking to submit on your behalf and they send you a request, this is where you would access it to grant them or deny that request. Okay. And then same with your permissions, you can kind of manage that all on this page as well. And that's really it for the My Account page. That's the basics of managing your account and keeping all of your information up to date.
Awesome. So obviously their permissions are for vendors who want to upload and submit on behalf. From the vendor side of things,
Sure.
What's their process like?
Definitely. So if you're a vendor and you're looking to submit on behalf of your photographer through Too Bright Lights, your account's going to look a little bit different. If you go to the albums page for your account, normally what you'll see is a create album, like create submissions button. So what you'll need to do is hit that plus sign to be brought to a page where you can request permission from that photographer to upload and submit on their behalf. If your photographer already has a free account, it'll go right to their free account. If they don't, they'll be prompted to create a free account with Too Bright Lights and then log in and accept your permissions request. So it's a pretty easy process. We try to make it as efficient as possible for you guys. But if you ever have any questions about how to get those permissions, maybe you're trying to work with a photographer who's not sure how to sign up for a Too Bright Lights account, please feel free to email us at support@TooBrightLights. We're always willing to help and get everything sorted so you guys can submit together, really.
Perfect. Let's see. So I know we talked about the request tabs.
Yep.
Is there anything else that they should be looking out for to find out for information from us and things like that?
Definitely. So we did cover a lot of the tools that we have within the Too Bright Lights platform, but we here at Too Bright Lights are always trying to keep you guys up to date on different submission requests and what editors are looking for. We know you're super busy, so we like to email you and post on social to try to keep you guys in the loop and up to date as possible. So once a month, we send out an email and we include all of the requests that publications send in to us to help you guys stay on top of what publications are looking for. And we also like to post on social a lot to talk about new publications that we're bringing on. We're always looking to add more publications. We like to do little features and spotlights to let you know who's looking for what. Maybe there's a publication that actually accepts newborn photography or boudoir that you weren't aware of. We try to highlight those so that way you guys have as many options for submitting as possible.
Yeah, definitely. And if you do one thing before you fully sign off of this webinar, get on Instagram,
Yes.
Follow our Instagram page, like us on Facebook.
Yep.
You'll definitely be kept up to date on all new and exciting information there.
We also like to feature the submissions that are getting published in real time. That's actually how we pull our content for social media. So definitely give us a follow to see maybe if you get featured on our site. It's a great way to build your network on social, and we're always looking for great content. So yes, please do follow us. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Anything coming in from?
I don't think we have any questions right now.
Okay.
I did put into the chat feed the link to a blog post that we wrote about how to choose the right publication.
Great.
As I know Tessa mentioned, it can be a bit overwhelming when you see the over 400 publications, like where do I start? So these 5 steps were really helpful. Everything from researching their publication profile, checking out their Instagram feeds, and so much more. So I will add that to the tag at the top and make sure that goes in there. And so if you want to check that out.
Definitely. Great. Cool.
Yeah, aside from that, I think that is it. But
Okay.
if you have any other questions,
Yeah.
email us anytime at hello@twobrightlights.com.
Yep.
And you'll probably hear from Jessa.
Yes.
But yes, now you know who we are and
Yeah.
how to find us. And thank you so much again for joining us today.
Yeah, we had so much fun. We hope this was helpful. And like Megan said, any questions, just feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you guys. So, all right.
Awesome. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.